This video, I'll show you how I painted the black goat of the woods from CMON's Death May Die. Alright, here she is. So I gave this mini a Zenithal Prime, and I did some pre-shading. And if you're unfamiliar with those concepts, there are some short videos in my How I Do Things playlist, which I will link in the cards and in the description below. So this is the magenta color that I'm using for all the tentacles in Death May Die. I decided I wanted to go for a brown tone on the skin, so we're going to use this warm brown, and we are going to glaze this on with glaze medium. If you do not know how to make glazes, there is a short video, but remember, the trick is once you fill your brush to wick out most of that paint onto a piece of paper towel and then do many thin layers. And we're doing this because the glaze is transparent and all the pre-shading will shine through. So I'm going to do this over everything that is a tentacle, and we're going to do 2 thin coats. Here's what it looks like after 1 coat, and here is what it looks like after 2 coats. So all of the contrast on the tentacles was done through the pre-shading, and the glaze preserved all of that. So it has much darker regions underneath and lighter regions at the top, and then even lighter regions in the areas on the highest point of the mini. And that's why I like doing glazing. So we're going to repeat that same process, but we're going to do it over everything that is not a tentacle, and that's going to include the horns, and we're going to do it with a glaze that I made from that brown paint. And here's what it looks like after a single coat. And here are 2 coats. And at this point I decided that I did not like the brown. I think looking at it now, it's far too saturated and it's just too much of the mini. So I decided that we were going to make some changes. So I made a black glaze, and I'm going to glaze this over all the brown on pretty much everything that is underneath the pecs and shoulders, and on the bottom of the face, and on the lower portions of the horns, just to darken everything down, desaturate it, and add some more color variation to the miniature. So after 1 coat of that, I already like the direction that we are headed, and I'm going to do another coat of that. I decided to do the back all the way up, since that is mostly a shadow region. But we're going to throw a second coat on this and see what comes out. And there's the second coat, and I was really happy with that. I think this is a good foundation for where I want to go with the rest of the miniature, and the way the shading is working out is very pleasing to me. So now the tentacles and the main skin are done. It's time to move on and talk about glowy bits. Alright, so I want to do a glowy effect on the eyes and the symbol carved in the chest. So I got a darker red, lighter red, and an orange, and we're going to use these to try to simulate some sort of glow. So I'm going to take my darker red, and this is just a regular paint consistency, not a glaze, and I'm going to base coat the eyeballs, some area right around the eyes, and I'm going to base coat the area around the lines carved into the chest of the miniature. I'm going to do this with all the eyes on the knees, the eyes on the chest, and the eyes on the face. Alright, that's my darkest red, and the face looks like a clown face, so I took some of my black glaze and used it to separate the eyes out some more. And then I took my brighter red and did just the eyeball and painted inside the lines on the chest. And then I took some brighter orange and tried to do a dot on each eye and a dot where all the lines meet on the symbol. And this kind of laid out the foundation for what we're going to do for the glow effect. So then I went back with a glaze of the darker color and glazed everywhere that I wanted to have light. And I didn't have any footage of this, but I reinforced these glazes later so you can kind of see the process. And my light placement is not realistic. I was just going for what I thought was cool. Alright, I took some of the flesh wash and I used it to tone back the ring around the eyes on the face. I thought that the contrast was just too high. So I glazed a little bit of that around the rings. So I just filled my brush up, wicked most of it out, and I didn't do in the eye, I just did the rings around the eye. And then I went back and grabbed that dark red glaze and just kept going until I was happy with the result, glazing it into all the areas around the glowy effect, and until it was one that I was happy with. I did end up glazing over the entire face, and then I did a lot more glazing on the chest. I did a little bit on the knees and some biceps and some tentacles. And then I went and I did take the brighter red and the orange, and I went in and I reinforced those colors in the symbols and the eyes a little bit. And I just kept going until I was happy with it. Again, these are not realistic placements of light, but hey, this is a elder god that, you know, dooms us all to destruction and spawns young and minions and all that kind of stuff. So it's not realistic. So I was just going for cool. So here I'm taking the brighter red and I'm reinforcing that color. I did the same thing with the orange a bunch, just because I really wanted it to stand out and pop. And I just kept going back and forth with the glazing and the reinforcing until I got something I was really happy with. To finish her off, I took a warm off-white and I did 2 runs of dry brushing this very lightly on the horns. I think the black near the bottom of the horns added a lot, and I wanted to push that contrast just a little bit more, since this is the kind of the face and it's where the tentacles have the most contrast too. So there's going to be a lot of attention drawn to that portion of the miniature. So I just wanted to add a little bit more contrast up here, and I did this over 2 runs. Alright, a black base and some matte varnish, and this mini is done. Had a lot of fun with this one. I think I'm really getting the hand of this color glazing over a Sothoth Prime and Appreciate, and it was a real blast doing the glowy effect. This is the most glowy effect I've ever done, and that was super fun. And yeah, really happy with how it came out. Had a lot of fun painting it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, ask me down in the comments. And next time I see you, I will be painting up some Dark Young.